In the hollows of Appalachia, faith asks for proof. Proof written in venom. Believers lift live rattlesnakes above their heads. Some drink strychnine from mason jars. They call it obedience to Scripture. Psychology calls it something colder. When a group survives danger together, the brain fuses fear and belonging. This is trauma bonding at scale. Each survived bite becomes evidence the group is chosen. Each death becomes proof of someone else's weak faith. Mortality stops being tragedy. It becomes a test you can pass. Isolation seals the system shut. No outside voice, no comparison, no exit. The mountains keep secrets, and the secrets keep the people. When death is normalized, fear loses its grip, and a person who no longer fears death will do anything the group asks. That is the architecture of control, built from rock, Scripture, and serpents. Beat 1. The cold open. Begin in a clapboard church, deep in the Appalachian fold. The wood is unpainted, the hymns are loud, the windows are dark. On the pulpit sits a wooden box. Inside the box, something moves. This is not metaphor. This is a congregation that handles venomous snakes as an act of worship. To understand how a human being arrives at this point, you must understand geography, Scripture, and the quiet machinery of the mind. Beat 2. The origin. The practice traces to the early 20th century. A preacher named George Went Hensley read a passage in the Gospel of Mark. They shall take up serpents, and if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. He took it literally. He lifted a snake, survived, and a movement was born across the coal towns and mountain hollows of Tennessee, Kentucky, and West Virginia. These were not wealthy places. They were isolated, exhausted by hard labor, and forgotten by the wider nation. Into that vacuum came a faith that promised the impossible, power over death itself. Beat 3. The psychogeography. Geography is the first control mechanism. The Appalachian terrain physically separates communities. Steep ridges, winding roads, and deep hollows limit contact with the outside world. When a belief system has no competition, it becomes the only available reality. Isolation does not just hide a group, it calibrates it. Without external comparison, the extreme begins to feel normal. The mountains become a closed laboratory of belief. Beat 4. The mechanism of trauma bonding. Now we reach the core. When humans face danger together, the brain does something specific. The amygdala fires. Cortisol and adrenaline flood the body. But survival in a group triggers a counter-release. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone. This pairing is ancient. It is how soldiers form lifelong loyalty in war. Shared terror, followed by shared survival, creates a bond stronger than ordinary friendship. The snake handling service weaponizes this loop. Every meeting is a controlled crisis. The fear is real. The survival is communal. The bond compounds each week. This is trauma bonding, scaled into a ritual calendar. Beat 5. The normalization of death. Here the psychology turns truly dark. In most communities, a death from preventable causes triggers alarm and reform. In these sects, death is reframed. If a handler is bitten and dies, it is not the snake's fault. It is not the doctrine's fault. It is interpreted as a failure of personal faith. This reframing is critical. It protects the belief system from disconfirmation. The doctrine can never be wrong because every outcome confirms it. Survival proves the faith works. Death proves the individual was unworthy. There is no result that can break the loop. Over time, the fear of death itself erodes. And a person who has surrendered the fear of death has surrendered the strongest leverage a body owns. Beat 6. The neurobiology of surrender. Consider what repeated exposure does to the nervous system. The first time a person approaches a venomous snake, the stress response is overwhelming. By the 100th time, habituation sets in. The brain recalibrates its threat baseline. What once read as lethal danger now reads as ordinary worship. This is the same mechanism behind extreme risk normalization in any closed group. The terror has not vanished. It has been redefined as the price of belonging. And belonging in an isolated place is survival. Beat 7. The in-group seal. Every control system needs a boundary. Here, the boundary is venom. An outsider cannot fake this devotion. You either lift the serpent or you do not. This creates an unbreakable in-group marker. The shared risk becomes shared identity. To leave the group is not just to lose friends. It is to betray those who stood beside you in mortal danger. The exit cost becomes psychologically unbearable. Beat 8. The wider pattern. Strip away the specifics and the structure is universal. Isolation removes alternatives. Ritualized danger forges bonds. A reframing doctrine makes disconfirmation impossible. Normalized mortality dissolves the final fear. These are not the marks of mountain eccentricity. They are the load-bearing pillars of high control systems everywhere. The serpent is simply the most honest version of a mechanism that usually hides. Beat 9. The close. The congregation files out into the cold mountain air. They survived another service. The bond is stronger than yesterday. To them, this is proof of grace. To the analyst, it is a closed circuit. Fear, survival, belonging, and a doctrine that can never lose. In the hollows of Appalachia, faith asks for proof written in venom. And the deepest control is not the snake in the box. It is a mind that no longer fears the bite.